I found out recently that Spotify removed an album I produced. They didn't bother telling me, of course. I found out when I tried to set up a playlist and was looking for one of the songs. The album is the FuMP Volume 97, which contains all the songs we posted to thefump.com between January and February of 2023. So I asked my distributor to look into why. Figured it had something to do with the Lemon Demon song on the album, because, you see, some time ago, a bunch of kids thought it would be fun to upload Lemon Demon songs to Spotify and claim the royalties as their own, because people suck. So Spotify flagged Lemon Demon's profile, and we've had to work around that issue in the past. So I figured that would be it. But no, not this time. No, the response I got back from my distributor said, I've been told Spotify is slowly removing all comedy content. Yeah. What happened is Spotify had a dispute with a couple performance rights organizations about the royalties for spoken word content. Spotify currently only pays the performance half of the royalties, not the composition half, presumably because there's no music to have been composed, so there's nothing to pay royalties against. The PROs say, no, you're only paying half the money you owe us, pay up. And Spotify was like, make me. And the PROs were like, okay. And since then, Spotify has been slowly removing stand-up comedy albums and other spoken word projects from their service. Except, FuMP 97 isn't a spoken word album. It's comedy music. I know those two words may be clashing in your brain right now, but hear me out. The FuMP stands for the Funny Music Project. These are songs, not spoken word. None of us are members of these spoken word performance rights organizations, so this has nothing to do with us. All that happened here is Spotify removed the album without anyone actually listening to it. If anyone had started playing any of the tracks on the album, they would have heard music. Hell, all they have to do is look at the track list. The first track is Progressive Love Song by the great Luke Ski. Progressive Love Song, as in music. They didn't even have to listen to it. All they had to do was look at it. It's comedy music. I know people have a hard time accepting comedy as a legitimate form of music, but it does exist. There are some of us out there who actually do this. And what's even more remarkable is there are people out there who listen to it. So why did we get caught up in this? Because comedy music doesn't exist as a genre on any of these services. There are categories and subcategories, and comedy has always been a subcategory of spoken word, because nobody believes that comedy music exists, and therefore all comedy is stand-up. So now I have to re-upload this album to Spotify and label it pop or something, which doesn't make any sense because the album has 2 pop songs, 2 rock songs, 1 classic rock song, 2 alternative songs, 1 folk song, 1 R&B song, 2 singer-songwriter songs, 1 ragtime song, 1 heavy metal song, a Jewish traditional song, 1 country rock, 2 hip-hop, and 2 that are, I don't even know how to describe them. They're uncategorizable. But they're all funny. So comedy is the best place for it. The best thing that could happen would be for the music industry as a whole to recognize that comedy is a legitimate form of music and doesn't need to be spoken word. But I doubt that's ever going to happen. All I would really like to happen is to continue to be able to classify our comedy albums as comedy so that our fans can find them under comedy when they look for comedy and not have them taken down because they're comedy. And Spotify thinks they're automatically spoken word. I mean, is Spotify going to force Weird Al Yankovic to remove and relist his albums as pop? Is Dr. Demento Covered in Punk going to be removed and have to be relisted as punk rock? Doubt it. So why should we have to just because we don't make nice sandwich money like Al does? I don't care if the people at Spotify have never heard of us. Play 2 seconds of any track on the album before you decide to remove it. That's all I ask. There are 102 FuMP compilations on Spotify right now. Well, I mean 101. If I have to relist and re-upload every single one of them, it's going to be a nightmare. Not to mention the costs involved because I have to pay for it again. So please, Spotify, before you remove an album, listen to at least part of it. And if you hear music, don't remove it. Do nothing. All you have to do is nothing. and the problem will be solved. I can't ask any less of you than to do nothing. So that's all I'm asking. Please.